Hey, what's up? How you doing, guys? I'm back for another tier list video that I haven't done in a little while because they don't get many views, but I really like making them. They're honestly some of my favorite videos to make just because of how easy they are. So, yep, we're doing a tier list of every movie from the year 2024 that I have seen. I'm sure this will be a little dated because I don't know. There's probably going to be another 2024 movie I'm going to see eventually. I don't know. But yeah, as I'm recording this right now, I have seen 26 movies from last year, and it's been a fine year for movies. I feel like. I mean, there have been some really really good ones, and there have been others that have just kind of came and went. So. Yep, of course, feel free to disagree with me. I know some subscribers that disagree with me on some of these opinions. So, yep, just gonna throw that out the gate. And, yep, but of course, this is my opinion. This is what I think. Not much else preamble. Let's get this over with. I put all the movies in alphabetical order. So, here we go. Hopefully, the editing will be a lot better too, because I'm actually gonna go back and edit this instead of recording it live. Yeah, first movie I have alphabetically is Alien Romulus, which I mean I've already talked about this movie in my Alien movies tier list. Um, um, Actually, I'm thinking, do I want to? No, I think I'll do A. I feel like that works. Yeah, I really liked Alien Romulus. I mean, I like most of the Alien movies actually, and Romulus was another good one. I thought, it recaptures the same like dread of that first movie and some of the cool action from the second movie. It was really fun. A lot of standout action sequences too. You have the whole bit where they have to sneak through a hallway and there's the face huggers are around there, but they have to sneak through with the temperature being changed and all that. And if they get too sweaty, the face huggers will come after them. Like, that was cool. And you have the whole sequence where they're going through where there's zero gravity and they shoot the xenomorphs and they have to float through like floating acid blood. I was like, yeah, that's really cool. It's not amazing. Like, obviously, it's not Alien or Aliens. Um, my biggest issue is definitely the whole thing where they had a CG Ian Holm in there, and it's like you really didn't need to do that, guys. I mean, not only is the actor dead, but you could have just cast anybody else. You could have just like he's an android. It's not even the same character from Alien. You could have just cast anybody. It didn't need to be a CG Ian Holm. That was weird. So yeah, not too much else. I mean, I feel like I might have to rush these because I don't want this video to be too long. But yeah, that's what I thought about Alien Romulus. It is good. Um, then I have Bad Boys Ride or Die. Well, actually, one thing is that for a few of these, I actually hadn't seen their predecessors before, so I ended up going back and watching them. Bad Boys is an example. I hadn't seen the previous movies until, well, I want to say this year, but we're in 2025 now. Until last year, I should say. So, yep. Saw all the previous Bad Boys movies. The two Michael Bay ones, they're fine. They're enjoyable, I guess. I mean, the second one's a lot more over the top, which is cool. And then I actually really liked the third one, Bad Boys for Life. It was actually my favorite one. Then this is the fourth one, Ride or Die. I liked it. Yeah, I'll put it in A there, along with Romulus. I actually don't. It's been a little while since I've seen it. I don't really remember it very well, but if I remember right, Will Smith's son is in there, and they have to like work together or to fight the bad guys. That commissioner, he died in the last movie, and he still has this whole mission he wants them to go on beyond the grave. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. He was the best character, honestly. Yeah, not much else to say. The Bad Boys movies aren't like amazing, but they're pretty enjoyable. Oh, I like. I mean, I don't love Will Smith, but he's a cool actor, or in these movies, So that's that. Next movie, alphabetically, of course, is The Beekeeper. B C. Actually, I'm not sure. I don't know, maybe C. I'm not sure actually. Let's go with that. I mean, I might change it later. Which, yeah, The Beekeeper was fine. And it's a movie with Jason Statham. He's a beekeeper, and then he's a part of this underground secret agency where they fight bad guys and stuff. Okay, sure. The action didn't really blow me away, but I will say at the end, the action in the climax was a lot more fun. I do remember that, and it was kind of weird too seeing Josh Hutcherson play. Like I'm so used to him as PETA, I didn't realize he could actually play kind of a jerk. Like that was a pleasant surprise for me. Maybe it's because he's PETA, but I found him pretty fascinating. I don't know, but yeah, there's that. And what else happens in there? I actually don't remember it. I mean, it seems like the general consensus is that it's a dumb, fun movie, and yeah, it probably is. That's probably what it is. Yeah. Then there's Beetlejuice. Yeah, B. That's a good spot for it, I feel. Well, I saw another one of those things where I didn't see the previous movie until I had to watch this. So yeah, watched the first Beetlejuice and was surprised how little Beetlejuice was actually in it. like, but it's still a really fun movie. And then came the sequel, made over 30 years later, which is pretty crazy. But it's a mess, definitely, because there are so many storylines going on in there. Like you have the whole thing with Beetlejuice. His ex lover is coming after him, wants to kill him. You have the storyline with this dead teenager who gets with Lydia's daughter and wants her to get in so he can come back to the living and stuff. There's Lydia has a person that wants to get with her. There's a plot line with Willem Dafoe's character trying to capture Beetlejuice. And there's probably others I'm not thinking of right now, but it's really a messy plot and all, but at the same time it's enjoyable. Like it has some of that old school Tim Burton fun that makes his movies really fun, like the original Beetlejuice, Nightmare Before Christmas, the first two Batmans, it has that charm. It has Michael Keaton still really fun as the titular character, and yeah, not too much else. It's a really fun movie, even though it is very flawed. Because again, there's too much going on in there. After that, then we have Challengers, which I didn't initially see when it first came out, but I remember on Letterboxd a lot of people were raving about it, saying how amazing it was. So I was like, yeah, I guess I'll check it out. I liked it. Yeah, I will put it an A. I really enjoyed it. It's the most invested I've been in tennis since Wii Sports, which yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. It's like I don't really care about sports, but this movie got me to care. Like that's saying something. The whole story is, of course, Zendaya has this whole love triangle with these two guys, and it's really fun. It's really interesting. I don't know what to say except it's fun, and it's again the most invested I've been in tennis in a long time. All right, here's the good stuff. Something I actually have stuff to say. Deadpool and Wolverine. Yep. Whew. S. I'm doing it. I'm putting it at S. Yep. One of the most hyped movies of the year for me and a lot of other people, and I would definitely say it lived up to the hype. Just the only Marvel movie, and yep, I'm glad it was because it was really cool. You have Deadpool, of course, being his usual self, being his own Ryan Reynolds self, and then Hugh Jackman finally comes back as Wolverine. I know some people say it like undoes Logan with that whole thing. I don't think so. I mean, the fact that it's a multiversal variant is enough for me to go, okay, yeah, it's not undoing Logan. And yep, it's really like seeing Wade and Logan like interacting off each other is always really fun. And kind of Logan had a really emotional arc too, where he did some bad things. He's hailed as the worst Wolverine, and then at the end it's like, oh no, you're the best Wolverine. And I'm like, that's nice and all. Oh, and he finally wore the yellow suit. He finally wore that suit, and he finally got the mask too. Like, that was definitely something I never thought I would see, but it was freaking sick. And the action is a lot of fun. Honestly, that whole opening sequence in where Deadpool is fighting the TVA agents with Bye 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 playing in the background, I have seen that one clip, I don't know, like 20 times just on YouTube. I've seen that clip so many times just because it's so freaking funny and cool. And oh, and the cameos too. You got, of course, Chris Evans coming back as Human Torch, Blade, Elektra, Channing Tatum's Gambit. Like, those are all really fun. And my theater didn't clap, weirdly enough, but but it was still cool. And oh, and X-23 was there too. Not much else to say. It's a really cool, fun movie, and definitely the most exciting one too. Then we have Despicable Me 4, which, yeah, it belongs in C. That's the best spot for it. I like the first movie. I really like it. I even kind of like the second one, even though it's a little bit more flawed. After that, I just don't care about the franchise because all the other movies have just been whatever. Like, okay, there's a whole movie around Minions. There's a whole movie around young Gru. I mean, that was kind of fun. There's a whole movie around Gru having a twin brother. Okay, that's weird. And this one, it's a whole movie where Will Ferrell plays a villain who's trying to track them down, and the whole movie is just them kind of hanging out in this safe house with no plot. Very similar problem, the Beetlejuice, where there's just way too much going on. Like Gru's trying to hide out the girls had this whole thing. I remember for some reason Edith and Agnes are at this karate class for one scene. Lucy's at this barbershop for one scene. There's a scene where this girl that she messed with the hair tries chasing her in this shopping mall, in this grocery store, and they play the Terminator music. And then there's this weird, and then the Minions have a whole side plot where they turn into superheroes, and it's like, okay, and these plots don't really connect. Oh, and Gru has a baby. That's another thing. Gru has a baby. I almost forgot about that. But yeah, that happens too. And yeah, I guess the baby has an arc about learning to appreciate his father, I guess. Whatever. Yeah, it's a mess. It's definitely not good. But was it kind of enjoyable? It kind of was. I was like, I still like Gru. I still like the girls. I will say the ending doesn't make much sense with all the villains being there and like Gru singing with the with Will Ferrell. It's like, didn't he turn your baby into a cockroach or something? But at the same time, it was kind of fun seeing the other villains from the other movies. Vector, El Macho, what was his name? Brat, the guy from the third one. I don't remember his name. It was kind of fun seeing those villains out there. Yeah, it's not good. It's definitely not, but it was a little enjoyable, I guess. That's the best way I can say it. Next on the list is Dune Part 2. Easy. Right there. Yeah. For me, Dune Part 2 was the best movie of the year. It was the first movie I saw in the theater of the year. Well, actually, technically it was Wonka, but that was from the previous year. But yeah, I saw Dune Part 2, and I was immediately like, this is going to be my favorite movie of the year. And that's still true for me. It's incredible. well, like Part 1 was already cool, but Part 2 was like extra. It's like it's a 2.5 hour movie, but I never got bored or seeing Paul Atreides go down this really dark path. That's where where all these what are their names? The Fremen. They believe he's this messiah figure, and he like uses that to his advantage, which is pretty dang dark. Or he like, oh, they think I'm a messiah. Yeah, sure. Or we'll use them for an army to go up against the House Harkonnen, who like it's a whole revenge plot, and he fights the Baron's nephew. Oh man, I hate that I'm forgetting their names, but I know what they are. Yeah, there's just so much cool. It's visually impressive. Saw it in IMAX, and it was so worth seeing it in IMAX because the scale and the CGI, it all holds up really well. Well, like it's a really massive epic, and it made me excited to watch the next movie. I know Dune Messiah is the next book, and and that's another thing too. After I watched part two, I was like, I'm reading the book. I did, and yep, it's really cool. Because I didn't want to read the book after part one because I didn't want the part two spoiled, and yep, I'm so glad I did. Because yep, that book was really cool, and definitely really excited to see where the series goes from here. Then we have The Fall Guy, which yeah, I'm putting it in B. I liked The Fall Guy. I mainly just saw it because it's a David Leitch movie. You know, he directed, of course, the first John Wick, Deadpool 2, and Bullet Train. And he, of course, does action really well. And yep, action's pretty cool. But more than that, this movie had a whole thing where stunt doubles in Hollywood don't get the credit they deserve. I mean, because that's the problem. You're not really supposed to notice they're there, but they do a lot of the heavy lifting. And the fact that we're not supposed to notice them, so we don't give them credit for doing all these crazy stunts. Like Fall Guy draws attention to that, and I really appreciate that. Obviously, you still got Ryan Gosling being his charming self, making me realize how much I've been missing him. Like he was cool in Barbie, and he's cool in this, and I'm like, darn it, I think I want to. He's a really cool guy, you know, and villain, you know, fine, whatever. Plot is fine, whatever. Action scenes are cool, but yeah, I mostly just appreciate it for shining a light on the stunt doubles, you know? So that's always really nice. And then we have Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, which is definitely going at A. Actually, maybe S? No, maybe not that good. I'll put an A. Yeah. Mad Max Fury Road, awesome movie. Now we got a prequel about Furiosa, and it's also really good. I didn't really expect much from it, but yeah, it was really cool. It was a very tragic movie with Furiosa, of course, being taken from her home by Dementis, and being forced to be Immortan Joe's slave, but then escaping and then hiding out. Oh, just kind of working for Immortan Joe and wanting revenge on Dementis for ruining her life. And I was invested. I was like, yes, get him. And definitely one of Chris Hemsworth's best roles too. Like he was so fun and threatening as Dementis. And that ending, it wasn't really a big action climax, but it was just kind of a talk between the two. But I weirdly didn't care because it was really compelling. The action, not on the same level as Fury Road, obviously, but I didn't really expect it to be. It was still cool for what it was. I do remember hearing a lot of complaints that like Fury Road had a whole thing where it was mostly practical effects, like while Furiosa has noticeably more CGI used. I don't know if I had noticed that. Actually, maybe I did notice it a few times, but I don't know if it like bothered me as much, you know? That's what I felt about that. And yeah, it definitely enhanced Fury Road too. Like that scene in that movie where Furiosa supposedly gets to the green place and is told, "Oh, it's gone," and she's crying, and it's like, "Yep, that scene is a lot sadder now that we know what it was like." So, yep, always appreciate when a prequel enhances an original. And then we have Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. It's C. It's very much a C. It wasn't very good. And it's a little sad too because I love the first Ghostbusters, really fun movie. The second one, it's not very good, but it's still really fun overall. And then, I mean, let's not talk about the reboot. That's a whole can of worms. Afterlife was actually when I rewatched it, it wasn't as good as I remembered. It was just kind of a weird movie, but at least it wasn't a decent tribute to Harold Ramis. Frozen Empire was just more. It was just more of the same. I mean, I kind of appreciate that it gave the OG cast a little bit more to do. Like Raymond got more to do. He's more integral to the plot, and Winston was there a little bit more. For some reason, Peter Venkman only is in there at the end, but okay, I'll take what I can get. I do remember finding there's this whole storyline where this ghost is talking to Egon's granddaughter, and it was kind of an interesting side story, but yeah, after the movie was over, I was just kind of like, okay, that was another movie, I guess. Not even another Ghostbusters movie, just another movie. And at this point, I'm just thinking, can we stop now? Can we stop making more Ghostbusters movies, guys? Like, come on. Like, the actors are really old at this point too. Like, can we stop? Like, we don't need any. We really, really don't need any more. I really hope they stop, because yeah, it's at this point it's just kind of beating a dead horse, you know. And then we have Gladiator 2, which it's in C. Yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of it. I loved the first one, but then I was like, okay, if you make a sequel, how are you gonna do it since Maximus is dead? And yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really feel much throughout most of it. I don't know. The story is all right, I guess. Like Maximus's son Lucius has to basically take up the mantle and like get Rome back to that dream Marcus had, of course, and it's a decent story, I guess, but I just wasn't really invested. I just didn't really care about what was going on. I don't know, just like it apparently has a lot better reviews. For a lot of other people are saying it's actually really good. Maybe it is, but I just didn't really care for it all that much. I think I'll just stick to the first Gladiator, thank you. And then we have Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. Yeah, it's an I don't know, maybe B. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's not amazing, but it's fun for what it is, you know. I went in expecting it to just be a dumb, fun movie with monsters fighting each other. That's exactly what it is, and yep, it delivers on that. It delivers on the awesome action, and you know, you got King Kong fighting those apes underground. You have that whole thing where he grabs that baby monkey and like hits the other monkeys with them. Yeah, that was definitely the funniest sequence in all of the funniest movie scene in all of 2024. And then there's this other giant frost monster, or that will create a new ice age, and Godzilla and Kong have to work together to fight it. You know, it's all really fun. It's all really cool. Well, human characters, why are they still here? You know, still don't care. That's a thing with the MonsterVerse movies. The human characters are always pretty boring. And, like they're pretty much just there to explain the lore and the backstory. And it's like, yeah, it's interesting, I guess, whatever. Can we just get to the monster fights, you know? And coming after Godzilla -1 too, where the human characters were actually interesting too. It's like yeah, it's definitely a little disappointing, but it's still a fun movie for what it is. Again, I expected it to just be a dumb, fun movie, and that's exactly what it is, so I'm not disappointed. And then we have Inside Out 2. It surprised me that it was the highest grossing movie of 2024. Like, I thought that would have been Deadpool and Wolverine, but no, Inside Out 2 made more than that. So, but I'm not upset about it because, yes, it's fantastic. I mean, I already went through it in my Pixar tier list video, but yes, Inside Out 2 is really good. Honestly, I've seen it two more times since that Pixar tier list, and it's gotten a lot better. Or just, I feel like I've talked about this movie a lot. I mean, of course, I had an Everything Wrong With video on it, but yeah, you have this. Like, it's a really good sequel. It tells an interesting story about Riley being a teenager. Anxiety comes in and tries to take over Riley's life, and it's like it just feels too real, and it's so freaking relatable. The stuff she goes through, like trying to fit in instead of just being herself. Like, yep, that sounds like what I felt like going through. Ooh, life. It portrays a panic attack or anxiety attack. It portrays that really well. I mean, I don't know if I ever experienced an anxiety attack, but but I saw that, I was like, yep, that's a really hard scene to watch. And of course, the message at the end that these emotions don't get to control Riley, and the sense of self like is a lot more complicated than they initially thought it was, because humans are complicated beings, of course. And yep, it's really interesting. It definitely Pixar's best movie in a long time, honestly. I'm thinking back. I originally gave it an 8 out of 10 in my initial review for it. Now I actually give it a 9 out of 10. And I'm trying to think, what was the last 9 out of 10 Pixar movie? Actually, I think it was Coco. For me, the last 9 out of 10 Pixar movie is Coco. So it's the best Pixar movie since Coco. I think I think that's pretty accurate. Going from good to bad, we have Joker Folie à Deux. I don't know, like it's yours. Apparently, it's French, I guess, but I just call it Joker 2. Yeah, it's bad. Oh man, like I saw it had bad reviews, and I was thinking, okay, I want to see it because I liked the first Joker. Maybe I'll like it. Maybe I want to give it a chance. And then I walked out of theater let down. Like, nope, that was bad. That was really bad. It's just a 2-hour movie showing what happens after the first one. And then Arthur dies at the end. And it's like, what was the point of that? Like, the whole romance between Arthur and Harley, or Lee, I guess that's her name, was really boring. I didn't care. It's a musical, I guess, but it's not a very good one, because I mean, I just didn't like, none of the songs are memorable, and it doesn't really commit to being a musical. The whole movie is stuck inside a prison and a courtroom, and it's like, okay, this is just boring. And then Arthur dies at the end, and turns out, oh, he wasn't even the real Joker, because the guy who kills him, he like cuts his face. And like, oh, is he the real Joker? Like, so the guy we've been following for 2 whole movies, for 4 hours, the guy we've been following in a movie series called Joker, turns out he wasn't the real Joker. Cool. Feel like it made me think back to the first one. Like, I feel like I wasted my time watching the first Joker movie, and that's not a good sign, because I really liked that first movie, and now I feel like I wasted my time with that. It's crazy. Like, wow, yeah, what a bad movie. Just, that's all I'll say. I really wish they would have stuck to the first one. Just leave it. They should have just left the first one as a standalone movie, because this just felt like a sequel that was made because the first one made $1 billion. So like, let's make a second one because people liked it. And yeah, it was not worth it, guys. It really wasn't. Thankfully, we got back to a good one. This is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the 4th movie in the rebooted Planet of the Apes movies. Thankfully, it's an A, I would say. Another one of those franchises where I hadn't seen the previous movies before watching it. So I watched the rebooted movies, Rise, Dawn, and War. They're all incredible. Caesar's story arc is really fun. Not fun, it's interesting. And the whole story with of course, apes taking over, and the humans like losing their ability to talk, and like, oh wow, that's cool. And sad ending where Caesar dies at the end of the trilogy. So now we have this movie all these years later, which of course explores a world where apes are the dominant species, and it shows humans seemingly going to fight back, and it's like, yep, that's all interesting. It's all interesting. And you have this new human character, May, who I always found myself questioning her loyalty. And when it ended, I was like, oh, where's she gonna go? And the new ape, Noah, and the new ape, Proximus Caesar, I think his name was. I know he had the name Caesar in it. He was a really interesting villain. Like, so much of it was interesting. That's the best way to describe this whole movie, and it made me excited to see where they'll go from here, because it definitely seems like it's setting up a new trilogy, asking the difficult questions about can apes and humans coexist. Like, definitely, it's like I want them to, but at the same time, I know it's not possible. That's the tragic things about the Planet of the Apes movies. It's that I want things to go well, but the frustrating thing is that they're realistic and things are not always going to go well. Well, that's what makes these movies really fascinating, you know? So that's that. Then we have Kung Fu Panda 4. Yeah, do I want to? Actually, no, I think I'll go D. I mean, it's a bit harsh. I don't know. You know what? I'm feeling generous. I'll put it in B. Yeah, I'll just be nice. It's not good. I didn't like it. I'm sorry, guys. Just like I love the first three Kung Fu Panda films, but this one just felt like a cash grab. Just kind of, oh, here's another adventure with Po. This time he's got to pass the torch of the Dragon Warrior. Okay, sure. I guess that's kind of interesting, and his relationship with Zhen. Okay, sure. The Chameleon though was the lamest villain ever, and like they bring back all the villains from the previous movies, and it feels weightless. It feels just it that doesn't have the weight that it should for some reason. And just seeing them all bow down to Po, I'm just like, what is going on now? I just don't buy it. Yep. And yeah. And the Furious 5 too, only showing up at the end, it made it feel like a direct to TV movie. It made it feel like one of the TV shows. It was really weird. Yeah, I didn't care for it. Easily the weakest Kung Fu Panda movie. Then we had The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, which I want to put it in D, but I'm like, oh no, I'll put it in C. I honestly didn't really care for it all that much. Apparently, similar to Gladiator 2, apparently it actually does have a lot of people saying it's really good. It's another one of those things where maybe it is good. I just didn't care. Um, like like it's a whole anime story where what even happens in it? Like this whole I actually can't remember what happens in it, which is crazy. And just saw it a couple weeks ago. Oh, like isn't the whole thing like a like they go to Helm's Deep and it originally wasn't called Helm's Deep. That's all I really remember. Oh, and I guess I remember Saruman popping up at the end. Like, okay, sure. I actually don't remember what happens in it. That's crazy. Um, yeah, I just found it to be, but I do remember just finding it really boring. Like the story, I remember thinking this story, okay, I can see myself liking this story, but I just don't for some reason. I just don't care. It's one of those things where maybe it is good, but something about it just didn't work for me. You know, it's probably just a me thing. I'll say that. Like I'll have to watch. I'll probably watch it again. Maybe it'll get better. It's possible, but as of right now, I just didn't care for it. And then we have Moana 2, which C D. Actually, I don't know. Maybe. It's probably a C. Maybe. Um. Yeah, I think we'll just put it there. Yeah, I did not. I mean, actually, similar to Godzilla X Kong, I kind of went into Moana 2 just expecting it to be an okay movie, and that's what it was. It was an okay movie. Moana goes on this adventure to go up against this god, and Maui is there too. They don't unite until the last third or something, and it set up a sequel too. It very much set up more movies. I do know that Moana didn't really have a character arc, which is weird. And I mean, I do remember thinking the world building was cool, like the new lore they added. I'm just like, that's cool. It does what a good sequel should do, being expanding the world, making it feel bigger. Or I kind of like that. But other than that, it was just kind of a whatever movie. And the songs too. What happened to the songs? Oh yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda didn't come back for some reason. Oh yeah, he was busy with Mufasa. Yeah, okay. But yeah, the songs were all forgettable. Like, I can't remember a single one. I think I vaguely remember the Maui song, but it's No You're Welcome. Like, it's genuinely crazy how forgettable this movie is. Because I really liked the first Moana. It was really good. And then we got a really disappointing sequel. But at the same time, Disney has never made a good sequel. Well, some people are saying like Cinderella 3 is really good, which it probably was. I haven't seen that movie in a while. I do remember liking it. But Disney rarely makes good sequels. I'll say that. So, yeah, not too surprised about it. Red One. I'm actually recording this after finishing Red One. I'm putting it in D. I didn't like Red One. It was really weird. It was like the whole story. Okay, Santa Claus gets captured, and this witch wants to trap all the naughty list people inside these snow globes. That sounds like a cool, fun movie, that could put me in a holiday spirit. Instead, it was played weirdly straight. It's so serious. Like, they play it, they take this story so freaking seriously. And I'm just like, why? It's a movie with flippin' Santa Claus. Why is Dwayne Johnson like explaining all of this with a straight face? Like, it's so weird. And as a result, I just found it boring. A movie that sounds like it would be up my alley, just being a fun movie, ended up being really boring. Honestly, the most fascinating thing about Red One is knowing that apparently Dwayne Johnson was a real jerk while making it. Like, I know he was apparently late to set a lot and like peed in a bottle while filming. Like, that's the most fascinating thing, knowing that apparently he wasn't a very good sport while making it. So yeah, thankfully we got back to a good one. Thankfully, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, S for real, and S. Never thought I'd put a Sonic movie up there, but yeah, it's phenomenal. Like, I like the first two Sonics. The first one, it's just kind of a decent road trip movie. The second one, definitely an improvement. You're seeing Tails and Knuckles and Chaos Emeralds. The third one, though, just straight up is a Sonic movie is like a Sonic game come to life. And I'm saying that as somebody who hasn't played very many Sonic games, but yeah, it's really fun. And you have a Shadow coming in, voiced to perfection by Keanu Reeves. His whole backstory with the girl, I'm like, yeah, that's all really compelling. And his redemption arc at the end, I got really invested in that. And surprisingly, Robotnik also tugged at my heartstrings, which I didn't expect to say out loud for freaking Eggman. But yeah, I mean, obviously you have Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey, and two of them too, since he also played his grandfather. That was all really fun. But then Robotnik also had a redemption arc at the end, and I was just like, it works weirdly. And I found myself getting sad when he died at the end, when he sacrificed himself, blowing up the spaceship. And I was like, dang, I kind of don't like it. They're for sure gonna make another Sonic movie, since they set up Amy and those robots, and they even teased Shadow is coming back. They are going to make another Sonic movie. I kind of hope Robotnik doesn't come back, because I feel like that was like the perfect end for his story. with him being redeemed. Like it actually works really well. It's crazy. I never thought I would say Eggman of all characters has a compelling redemption arc, but he somehow does. And his whole thing with Stone too, like says goodbye to him, and I'm like, I've weirdly felt something. But then again, I feel like Stone is the most sympathetic character in all the Sonic movies. Just the way he feels sad when Robotnik is gone and stuff. And I weirdly feel sorry for him. Like, yeah, that Sonic. Oh, and Sonic also has this whole arc where Shadow almost kills James Marsden, and Sonic goes on a revenge quest. And again, I found it really compelling. Like, it's the most invested I got in Sonic's character. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what they do with Sonic 4 now that Amy is coming. So yeah, that's all gonna be really fun. And then we have Transformers 1. It pretty crazy, this one. I remember that first trailer and I thought, this looks like the most generic film I've ever seen. And I thought, I'm not gonna see it in theaters. Maybe I'll watch it eventually. And then it got really good reviews, which surprised me. Like, some people were even saying it's the best Transformers movie, and I was like, really? That can't be that good, right? Eventually, I got too curious and was like, fine, I'll see it in theaters because I'm really curious to see how good it actually is. Yeah, it's phenomenal. No, yeah, it's phenomenal, guys. Like, yeah, for me, it's the best Transformers movie, which is crazy. It's the first Transformers movie that actually has a compelling story where I'm like, darn, this is actually really emotional. Bumblebee is the closest, but even then, it just kind of redoes the story of E.T. and it's emotional, I guess, but it's not amazing. This one, I'm like, I actually care about what's happening. You know, Optimus Prime or Orion Pax and D16, their brotherhood and friendship is really nice, and it's actually heartbreaking seeing them go their separate ways. It's heartbreaking seeing D16 go more and more evil when he finds out, oh, everything I grew up learning and knowing was all a lie, and like he wants to kill Sentinel Prime the whole time, and I'm just like, it's sad that he's going down this path, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't blame him for thinking this way. At the end too, when he accidentally shoots Optimus, and then he drops him. He literally drops him down the abyss, no, thinking that'll kill him. I was like, dang, that's dark. Like, wow. Like, my jaw was on the floor when I saw that in the theater. Like, I was like, holy cow. And then Orion Pax becomes Optimus Prime, gets the Matrix of leadership and fights him, and it's so freaking rewarding seeing him become the Optimus Prime we all know and love. And yeah, it was actually sad seeing seeing him and Megatron break up. And I was like, wow, I'm just blown away, man. And I'm just like, dude, like Rise of the Beast was setting up this weird crossover with G.I. Joe. Like, no, give me Transformers 2, I guess. Give me more of this. But unfortunately, the movie bombed, so it doesn't seem like we're going to get it, which is sad, but at least we have this movie for what it is. At least it's a okay enough standalone movie, even though they were very much setting up sequels, which seemingly will never happen, but oh well. At least it's a great movie. Yeah. And also too, Chris Hemsworth was in both this and Furiosa. They both bombed at the box office, and yet they're both incredible movies that didn't deserve the bomb. And he's had a tough time outside of Marvel, which is crazy. I mean, say what you will about Thor: Love and Thunder, but that movie made a lot of money. So yeah. After that, then we have Twisters, which yeah, B is a good spot. Probably, yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. I hadn't seen the first one until 2024. I saw it. I'm like, it's a really fun movie. It's not amazing, but you know, it's fun for what it is. I can see why people would say they love it. And then the sequel, or I guess spinoff, and it's more of the same. it's enjoyable, definitely. Glenn Powell plays Tyler, and he's really fun. He's definitely the most fun part. And coming after Top Gun Maverick too, I'm just like, he needs to be in more movies, honestly. More fun blockbusters. And the story arc with the main girl is compelling enough, and the action is cool. It's there's not too much to say. Honestly, the most I have to say about this movie is the title. Why is it called Twisters? I know there are multiple Twisters in the movie, but the first Twister movie had a bunch of them too. So what? Like, I don't get it. Like, like Alien, there's only one alien. Aliens, and then there's like a bunch of them. That makes sense, but I don't get why they did the same thing with this. It's just weird. I don't get it. That's the most interesting thing to me about Twisters. Other than that, it's a fun enough movie. So yeah. And then we have Them: The Last Dance. It was bad. Oh man, I really did not like it. And I rewatched the first two Venoms just to figure out what I thought of them too. The first one was even worse than I remember, but it had its moments. It had Tom Hardy being fun and all. Let There Be Carnage was actually a lot more fun than I remember it. Well, it was, maybe I wouldn't say that, but it was enjoyable. Woody Harrelson, Carnage, and all. It was fun. Last Dance sucked though. My biggest complaint is you have this villain named Null. He's voiced by Andy Flippin' Serkis, and he's in this prison, and the whole plot is him sending these hunters down to Earth so he can get this key from Venom. I don't really want to explain what the key is, but he wants to get this key so he can be set free. He never gets out. He is just stuck in this prison the whole movie, and he never gets out. And he's voiced by Andy Serkis. Why would you cast Andy Serkis only for him to have a monologue and just talk about how he's going to get out? Like, that is such a waste of Andy Serkis. That's the biggest waste of him since the Star Wars sequel trilogy. It's insane. And the action is fine, I guess. And Venom dies at the end. And I'm just like, okay, sure. I don't really believe it though, because let's be honest, the Venom movies are the only profitable thing Sony has other than Spider-Verse. So I feel like they'll make a Venom 4 at some point. I honestly don't believe Venom's dead. And oh my gosh. And then there's that stupid scene too where the hunters can only find Venom if he's in his full form. So he's aware of that, but for some reason he decides to go into his full form to dance with Mrs. Chen, knowing that the hunter is going to come after him. And guess what? The hunter comes in. And it's like, why did you do that? Why? Like, it's so, like, it's baffling how stupid that scene is. The Venom trilogy was definitely not worth it. Can we please stop making more Venom movies? Please stop making more Marvel movies that, like, Sony, please stop making more Spider-Man movies that don't have Spider-Man. I haven't watched Madam Web and Craven, and I'm glad because I've heard they're bad anyway. It's so baffling that Sony thinks, okay, at least Venom is a popular character without Spider-Man, but the fact that they keep making movies without him is just like, guys, you own the flippin' character. Use him. You're using him in the Spider-Verse movies. Use him in these. Like, I don't get it. Thankfully, we're ending this tier list with two pretty good ones. First, we have Wicked, which, yeah, I'll definitely put an A. Yeah, I'd probably put it there. Wicked is really good. But I actually hadn't seen the original musical. I knew nothing about the story of Wicked. I just knew something about it making the Wicked Witch more sympathetic. And yeah, it does. I saw the movie, and yep, it's similar to Dune Part 2. It's a 2.5 hour movie, but I was never bored. Or I was finding myself invested in Glinda, what's her name? Elphaba, her story arc with Glinda, and I'm like, dang, this is compelling. Like, and seeing her be mocked and then seeing her meet the Wizard of Oz and then being all, wait, you're not a real wizard. Or I've listened to Divine Gravity for a few times now. Like, yeah, it is a really good song. And the singers, I can't remember what Elphaba's actor's name is. Her and then Ariana Grande. They were both really good singers. It is a really good musical, a much better musical than both Moana 2 and Joker 2. And it's a two-parter apparently. And yeah, I honestly am pretty curious to see Wicked Part 2 next year or this year. You know, like I don't know the story. I'm not going to look it up because I want to go in blind. Hopefully I will. But yeah, I'm really curious to see where they go from there. And then we have The Wild Robot ending this. And yeah, it is also really good. Definitely an A. It's kind of similar to WALL-E in that people are saying, oh, it's one of their best, one of Pixar's best. A lot of people are saying Wild Robot, oh, it's one of their best DreamWorks movies. I wouldn't go that far, but yes, it is really good. It has a really nice story where a robot crashes on a deserted island and hangs out with these animals. Animals like fixing them, raising this little duck, and there's a fox who has a nice arc about learning to appreciate all that, and the robot, of course, helps all the animals during migration and stuff. It's all really nice, and yeah, apparently it's the start of a trilogy, which I don't know what they can do for a sequel, but I'm curious. There's not too much else to say except, yeah, it's a really nice and heartwarming movie, and the animation looks really cool too. Definitely DreamWorks' best movie since Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which was only a couple years ago. I can't believe it's that old already, but you know, what are you gonna do? And so, yep, that was my tier list for all the 2024 movies I have at least seen so far. And that's it for now. Hopefully, I'll be able to do one for 2025 next year. If you're watching this, which let me know what, like, maybe not your own list, but at least let me know what movies from 2024 you liked the best. I am curious because it's been an all right year for movies, but there have been some great ones and some even pretty good ones. And I'm definitely curious for 2025. The most excited movie, weirdly for me, is From the World of John Wick: Ballerina, which I didn't expect to say, but I mean, it is John Wick, so there's that. And yep, not too much else to say. That'll be all for now, so peace.